Head into any Etsy Facebook group right now and you'll likely see a barrage of posts asking the exact same question. Is it quiet or is it just me? So what's happening here? Is there something going on with Etsy? Did the algorithm change? Or is there a logical explanation that we're missing? And if there is an explanation, what can you do in the meantime to help maintain traction when traffic on Etsy seems to be lower than average? For those who are new here, my name is Starla Moore, founder of the Handmade Alpha Academy for Etsy sellers and manager at erank.com, Etsy's most popular SEO tool. And over at erank, I spend a lot of time analyzing traffic patterns for Etsy as a whole, as well as other popular shopping platforms. So today, we're going to take a deep dive into what's really going on with Etsy traffic, as well as what you can expect over the next few months. Before we get started, I just want to give a quick shout out to this week's featured shop. Hey you! Thanks so much for your love and support. For those watching, if you would like to submit for your own shout out, just tag Handmade Alphas in a photo or screenshot of yourself watching this video, either in your Instagram feed or Instagram stories. We're going to be talking about 3 different types of sellers today, so it's first important to identify which of these 3 categories that you fit into. Category 1, you started selling on Etsy last year and were doing well, but lately it seems like your sales have totally stopped. Category 2, you've been selling on Etsy for several years and it seems like things have gotten progressively worse as time has gone on. And category 3, you have never done well on Etsy and you're beginning to feel like the entire platform is just cursed. Feel free to let me know down in the comments which category you fall into. Over the years, a lot of sellers have commented on my videos claiming that Etsy is dying. And in order to understand why that isn't true, we need to hop into our time machine and travel back to 2005, when Etsy was founded. Oh, that's right. In 2005, I would have been 14 and obsessed with Green Day. Well, that's embarrassing. Anyway, let's look at the world in 2005. You know, back when Amazon was still a book vendor, MySpace was way more popular than Facebook. Oh, hi Tom. And Etsy was still pretty much in beta. That was an exciting time for the internet, where the idea of placing an online order and having that item show up at your doorstep was becoming a lot less scary for the general population. In this article published during holiday time of 2005, Scott Silverman, executive director of shop.org, said this: retailers cited several positive external factors contributing to the increased sales this year. The top 3 reasons were decreased gas prices, increased acceptance or comfort with online shopping, and the press coverage about online shopping. We are experiencing a general momentum right now. Scott's statement tells us a lot about where we were as a society in 2005. Gas prices were around $2.30 as opposed to today's average of $4 to $7 a gallon. Comfort of online shopping was also new and exciting, and buyers were typically confident that they would receive exactly what they ordered. Today, many online shopping platforms are loaded with cheap, mass-produced knockoffs from China, while being advertised with completely different photos, making it hard to feel confident about what you've purchased until that item arrives at your doorstep. And as I'm sure you've probably noticed already, press coverage for online shopping platforms hasn't been the best. At one time, these industry leaders were seen as innovators, pioneering a new online landscape of possibilities. But as the years have gone by, we've seen an increase in negative media coverage surrounding these industry giants, reframing our overall perception of the online shopping experience. But despite all of these things, e-commerce has continued a dramatic climb since 2005, and Etsy shopping is no exception. In 2005, Etsy reported their gross merchandise sales at just $170,000. By 2006, those numbers climbed to $3.8 million. By 2013, those numbers had climbed to $1.35 billion, with a continued steady climb in the years that followed. Until...
Breaking news, stay at home. That is the order tonight from 4 state governors.
Store after store now officially closing its doors.
Normally, the busy gateway to the city is almost empty during this new era.
Apple on Monday announced that all 12 of its New York City stores have been closed to shoppers.
With more people stuck at home, sales on Etsy skyrocketed, going from $4.97 billion in 2019 to a staggering $10.28 billion in 2020. During this time, Etsy was one of the only platforms where masks could be purchased. And with so many people stuck at home, Etsy became a prime location to spend time, both for shoppers and new sellers who decided to make a little extra money from home. And news and media networks weren't shy in their showboating, with headlines stating that Etsy sellers were pandemic heroes. With all of this positive reception, Etsy invested tons of money into heartwarming TV advertising around holiday time that further helped to bring Etsy into the public eye. This This resulted in a record-breaking holiday season for sellers, with Etsy reporting a 135% increase in gross merchandise sales during Cyber Week versus the year prior. Needless to say, it was a good time for Etsy sellers, many feeling enough security that they chose to leave their jobs in order to pursue their lives as a business owner. But as I always say, what goes up must inevitably come back down. And if you're one of those sellers who was doing well a few years ago but suddenly aren't doing well now, this is likely the reason. After quarantine was lifted in most areas, many shoppers were eager to get back to reality, turning their wallets back towards brick-and-mortar stores. And this resulted in an overall drop in traffic for Etsy sellers, who suddenly felt like the platform was dying out, especially those who had joined around 2019 and 2020. And it can be easy to feel that way, but we have to remember that 2020 was an anomaly. Looking at Etsy's post-pandemic stats, if we were to ignore 2020 altogether, we can still see a huge increase in overall Etsy traffic year over year. And following Etsy's quarterly reports, it's safe to say that Etsy is still doing fantastic in the realm of e-commerce. Just in Q1 of 2023 alone, Etsy's reported gross merchandise sales reached $3.1 billion, more than Etsy made in an entire year from 2005 to 2016. So despite what many Etsy YouTubers may lead you to believe, Etsy isn't dying, and Etsy traffic is still higher than usual, but there are a few things sellers should be aware of, especially new sellers who may be struggling to gain traction. Historically on Etsy, the time between January and August are the slowest season for shoppers, with more people spending time outside and less time in front of their computers, especially with most Etsy shoppers residing in the US. Holidays like Valentine's Day, Easter, and Mother's Day tend to result in a decent trickle of activity until May of each year, but from May until August, Etsy tends to be quiet for most industries. And this isn't just an Etsy thing. Have you ever noticed how big tech companies and video game developers wait until fall to release products? Logically, it may be easy to assume that they're waiting for the holiday season, but in reality, they're actually just steering clear of what experts refer to as the summer slump. In an article by Kitely Tech, they report that retailers experience lower conversion rates, low customer engagement, and high cart abandonment. All of this happens during the months of June, July, and August. The top reasons for the summer slump include warmer weather, reserving money for vacations, and an overall decrease in advertising budgets for major retailers. So what does this mean for you? It means that the next 3 months are going to be slow. And historically, June, July, and August have always been, excluding 2020. And while that may not be the news that you want to hear, this actually may not be a bad thing. Over the last 6 years, I've been preaching the word of the summer slump here on YouTube, because this is something I've studied for as long as I've been selling online. And while you can't make Etsy traffic magically appear on the platform, there are things that you can do to help bridge the sales gap while also preparing for the upcoming busy season. Instead of thinking of the summer slump as a curse, think of it as a little vacation that will allow you to get more done. Because if you're experiencing slower than usual sales right now, it's very likely that your competitors are too. And while those competitors are sitting around all summer whining and complaining about their lack of sales, you can use this time to plan strategically so that you can get ahead just in time for the busy fall. I want you to treat your next 3 months like you're training for the Olympics. You're not going to win the gold tomorrow or even the next day, but training intensely for the next 3 months will help you to win during the busy season. Remember how I said that there's less traffic on Etsy right now? Sitting around hoping for traffic that isn't even on Etsy right now is like sitting at the table waiting for a meal that isn't even in the oven. We know for a fact that there are less people on Etsy right now. So where are they? People don't just quit the internet altogether during the warmer months. They're definitely still online, posting photos and sharing their experiences, but more of them are doing this from their phones. And during the summer, they're doing it later in the day. The marketing experts at Social Stamina share that posting later in the day may be more beneficial for your business. For the evening, push posting to 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. instead. Chances are your followers won't be on social media until it gets dark outside anyway. Remember, people may not be shopping as much during the summer, but you can still grab their attention on social media, which is super important because the rule of sevens in marketing states that it takes an average of 7 brand interactions before a casual viewer becomes a customer. Right now is the very best time to start marketing your brand on social media, not just to drive customers right to your shop, but also to form good brand connections that will hopefully lead to later sales. You want to stay top of mind for these casual social media scrollers, and posting consistently over the summer is an amazing way to help generate a loyal audience for your brand. Plus, when holiday time hits, these are the exact same people who are going to remember you and hopefully buy from you. So don't waste your summer twiddling your thumbs or posting daily in Etsy groups to ask, is it slow or is it just me? Yes, it's slow for everyone, but use this slow period as an opportunity to work on your business. And if you're not sure where to start, I seriously have so many free mini courses and guides that will tell you exactly what to do. For social media marketing consistency, you can grab my free 30-day Instagram challenge kit. This is an amazing framework to follow that will help you to gain marketing traction over the next few months. Summer is also a great time to work on tightening your brand. Even if you don't sell print on demand, you can check out my recent branding webinar that I hosted with Printify. This is an amazing resource for anyone who finds themselves struggling with developing a niche or a focused brand image. And if you're struggling with Etsy traffic and SEO, I have a massive Etsy SEO toolbox that is loaded with video mini courses to help you optimize your listings. I even include 30 days of eRank Pro with it. And all of this stuff is free. So really guys, there's no excuse not to use this time to grow, to improve, and to race ahead of the competitors who are wasting their entire summer waiting for sales. And if you still feel like you need help, my Etsy coaching program will actually be opening on June 14th for summer enrollment. The Handmade Alpha Academy is a 9-module training program that teaches sellers how to build, market, and grow dominant brands on Etsy step by step. In the Handmade Alpha Academy, I teach you how to define your target audience, how to use proven psychological triggers in your shop and marketing to attract that ideal customer, and how to build a perpetual traffic funnel so that you have more control over the money you make for your business. As of right now, we're the only Etsy course in the world built on a foundation of neuromarketing, which is why we have over 1,000 successful students, many of whom run their businesses full time. Not to mention, I'm so invested in your Etsy success that I personally buy each of my students a 12-month eRank Pro subscription, so you can utilize the very best tools to grow your business. If this sounds like something that you may be interested in checking out for your own business growth, I've added a link down below and up here somewhere where you can learn more about the program, our success stories, and the class curriculum. Overall, success on Etsy means analyzing yearly traffic patterns in order to predict slow seasons. And with a little science, a lot of data, and some help from a trusted Etsy expert, you'll be well on your way to Etsy success. Cue the funky lo-fi beat.